Welcome to my channel HD Rare Coins 111, the place where history meets treasure. Here, every coin tells a story, from the oldest United States classics that shaped our past to the newest rare discoveries that amaze collectors today. If you love the thrill of uncovering hidden value, exploring the beauty of design, and learning the secrets behind coins worth fortunes, then you're in the right place. Join us as we dive deep into the world of rare U.S. coins, both old and new, and reveal the fascinating details that make them priceless. Top 1. The year 1965 marked a turning point in American coinage, and among the coins that captured collectors' attention is the Washington quarter from that era. This was the year when the United States Mint made one of the biggest changes in its history: the end of silver coinage for circulating dimes, quarters, and half dollars. As a result, the 1965 Washington quarter became a fascinating piece not only of monetary use but of historical significance. For anyone who holds one, its story is much deeper than just spare change. In 1965, the Mint officially removed 90% silver from quarters due to rising silver prices and the public's habit of hoarding silver coins. To solve this crisis, they introduced a new metal composition: copper and nickel bonded together. This meant the traditional silver quarter was no more, and the new copper-nickel clad coin entered circulation. The Washington quarter of 1965 became the very first of this new generation. Collectors quickly noticed the difference. The older silver quarters had a rich, heavier feel and a bright white shine, while the clad quarters looked slightly duller with a visible copper edge when turned on the side. At first, the public resisted the change, but the Mint pushed forward, producing millions of 1965 clad quarters to replace the silver ones that people were holding onto. The design of the coins still honored George Washington, just as it had since 1932. On the obverse, Washington's profile faced left with the word Liberty above and the motto, "In God We Trust," to the side. The date 1965 appeared below, making it the first year to no longer carry a mint mark. In fact, no mint marks were used on quarters from 1965 to 1967 as part of the Mint's effort to discourage collecting during a coin shortage. On the reverse, the classic image of the bald eagle perched on a bundle of arrows with olive branches beneath continued to symbolize strength and peace. Even though the metal changed, the artistry remained the same, tying the new coinage to America's long tradition of symbolism. Because it was a transition year, the 1965 quarter carries a unique place in history. Millions were struck, and at first glance, most examples seemed common. However, hidden among them are rare varieties, errors, and even experimental pieces that today make collectors' hearts race. One of the most famous rarities involves quarters that were mistakenly struck on leftover silver planchets from 1964. Since both years were being produced during the changeover, some silver blanks accidentally slipped through and were stamped with the 1965 date. These era coins are exceptionally rare and highly sought after, as they blend the new era's date with the old era's metal. Another category of collectible 1965 quarters includes those struck with unusual errors like off-center strikes, double strikes, and clipped planchets. These minting mistakes give the coins a unique character and make them stand out from the ordinary pieces in circulation. Over the decades, the 1965 quarter became a favorite for treasure hunters. People searched through pocket change, coin rolls, and old jars of quarters hoping to spot a valuable era coin. The dream of finding one is what keeps many collectors excited, especially since ordinary 1965 quarters still turn up frequently. What makes this coin even more intriguing is that it represents the end of one chapter and the beginning of another. Before 1965, quarters were always silver. After 1965, they were never silver again for circulation. That makes this date an important line in the history of American money. For casual collectors, most 1965 quarters are worth only face value, but for serious numismatists, the story is about far more than 25 cents. It's about history, transition, and rarity. A single rare 1965 era can transform from ordinary pocket change into a small fortune. In high grades, regular clad examples can also hold value. Coins that have survived decades without scratches or were graded by professional services and placed in protective holders. Some of these pristine coins are worth much more than their face value, because perfect condition coins are difficult to come by. The allure of the 1965 quarter is tied to the mystery of what you might find. Could it be a silver error? Could it be a dramatic misstrike? Or could it be a perfect gem that survived in near flawless condition? Each possibility excites collectors and investors alike. The fact that this coin was minted in huge numbers adds to the excitement of hunting for rarities. Millions of people handle them daily without ever realizing the potential treasure in their hands. For those who know what to look for, the 1965 Washington quarter is a hidden gem among everyday coins. Its story also speaks to the wider history of America in the 1960s. The nation was facing economic changes, social upheaval, and growing technological progress. The switch from silver to clad coinage was not just about money, it was about adapting to modern realities and preparing for a new financial landscape. Even today, over half a century later, the 1965 quarter sparks conversation. It is more than just an object of commerce, it is a symbol of change. Coin collectors treasure it not only for its monetary value but also for the piece of American history it represents. Some collectors focus only on era coins, while others try to build complete sets including every year of Washington quarters. For those collectors, the 1965 piece is a cornerstone because of its transitional role. Without it, the set feels incomplete. In auctions, the rare era versions of this quarter have drawn serious attention. When examples of silver 1965 quarters or unusual minting mistakes surface, they often command staggering prices. That's why stories of these coins spread widely among the collecting community. Every detail on the coin, from Washington's portrait to the copper edge, tells part of the story. Even the absence of a mint mark is significant, reflecting the mint's battle against hoarding and shortages. Every feature makes the 1965 quarter different from any other date. For those just beginning in coin collecting, the 1965 quarter serves as an introduction to the thrill of the hobby. It's a coin that can still be found in circulation, yet carries the possibility of incredible rarity. That combination makes it irresistible. Collectors also enjoy the challenge of searching for high-grade coins from circulation. Since these coins were used heavily, finding one with sharp details and nowhere is a real achievement. That's why certified high-grade pieces sell for premiums. In educational terms, this coin is a perfect way to explain to students and new collectors how history and economics intersect with coinage. A simple quarter becomes a window into the 1960s, when America faced critical decisions about its currency. The 1965 Washington quarter continues to inspire stories of discovery. Families often check old savings jars or inherited coin collections and are surprised to learn that a 1965 coin may hold more than sentimental value. Collectors often say that the joy is in the hunt, and the 1965 quarter captures that perfectly. You never know when one will turn up in a roll of quarters from the bank or in loose change from the grocery store. Because so many exist, people sometimes underestimate its potential, but the truth is, certain varieties of this coin are among the most valuable modern quarters in the world. That's why it's always worth taking a second look. This coin reminds us that history can hide in plain sight. A simple date on a quarter can connect us to a story of transition, economics, and rarity all at once. That is the beauty of numismatics. Learning how ordinary things become extraordinary. So, when you look closely at your change and see a 1965 Washington quarter, remember that you're holding more than a coin. You're holding a piece of America's past, a symbol of economic change, and possibly even a hidden treasure. The fascination surrounding the 1965 quarter will never fade, because it bridges two worlds, the Silver Age of coins and the modern clad era. It marks a dramatic shift in American coinage, and that makes it forever significant. For collectors, historians, and treasure seekers, the 1965 Washington quarter remains one of the most exciting finds to this day. And in the rarest and most valuable form, a single coin of this year has been known to reach an astonishing value of $176,000. Top 2. The Washington quarter of 1983 is one of those coins that may look ordinary to the untrained eye, yet it hides an incredible story of rarity, history, and unexpected value. At first glance, it seems like just another pocket change quarter, a coin that people used every day for buying gas, snacks, or dropping into payphones. But for coin collectors, the 1983 Washington quarter is far more than a 25-cent piece. It's a symbol of a unique moment in American coinage history. The year 1983 was a significant one for U.S. coins because it was a time when the mint was not selling uncirculated sets. This means that collectors could not buy pristine coins directly from the mint as they had in other years. Instead, the only way to obtain a 1983 quarter was to find one in circulation. As a result, most of these coins were heavily used, worn down, and damaged by decades of everyday use. This absence of mint sets from 1982 and 1983 is one of the main reasons that high-quality quarters from those years are so rare today. Collectors searching for sharp, uncirculated examples face a real challenge, and this scarcity is what makes the 1983 quarter stand out from other modern coins. The coin's design remained true to the Washington quarter series that began in 1932. On the obverse, the familiar profile of George Washington faces left, with Liberty written above and In God We Trust to the left. The year 1983 sits proudly at the bottom, anchoring the coin in its time. Despite the ordinary look, its background story is anything but ordinary. On the reverse, the majestic bald eagle spreads its wings while perched on a bundle of arrows, symbolizing strength, with olive branches beneath to represent peace. This classic design carried through until the state quarters program began in 1999, making the 1983 piece part of that long-running tradition. What makes the 1983 Washington quarter so fascinating is not just the design but the condition in which most coins survive. Since they were pulled straight from circulation, nearly all have scratches, dings, and wear. Finding one in pristine, mint state condition is like finding a needle in a haystack. Collectors often point out that the 1983 quarter is a sleeper coin. To the casual observer, it doesn't look valuable at all. But those who know its history realize that in the right condition, it can command extraordinary prices at auctions and among collectors. Another feature of the 1983 quarter that excites collectors is the possibility of rare minting errors. These include off-center strikes, double strikes, die cracks, and other unusual flaws that slip past quality control at the mint. Coins with dramatic errors can fetch huge sums, because each one is essentially one-of-a-kind. One of the most interesting varieties connected with the 1983 quarter is the Spitting Eagle variety, where a die crack extends from the eagle's beak to the rim, making it appear as though the eagle is spitting. This variety has become quite popular with collectors and adds another layer of intrigue to the coin's legacy. The lack of mint sets in 1983 means that collectors rely heavily on coins preserved by chance, perhaps saved in a drawer, forgotten in a collection, or stored in rolls. That makes the search for a gem-quality example a thrilling chase for serious numismatists. Imagine the countless 1983 quarters that passed through vending machines, laundromats, and gas stations without anyone realizing the potential value they could hold decades later. That everyday use is precisely why uncirculated examples are so rare today. Over the years, collectors and treasure hunters have shared stories of discovering valuable 1983 quarters in bank rolls or old jars of change. These finds remind us that sometimes great treasures are hiding in plain sight, waiting for a keen eye to spot them. High-grade 1983 quarters have appeared at auctions and surprised many with their final prices. For such a modern coin, one might not expect much value, but when rarity and condition combine, the results can be astonishing. The 1983 Washington quarter also teaches an important lesson about coin collecting. Value is not always about age. While many assume older coins are automatically worth more, coins like the 1983 quarter prove that scarcity, demand, and condition play even greater roles in determining value. For collectors building complete sets of Washington quarters, the 1983 issue is a must-have, but it is also one of the toughest to find in top condition. That challenge is part of what keeps the thrill of the hunt alive. When held in hand, A 1983 quarter might seem like nothing more than small change, but when studied closely, its details reveal a connection to a specific time in American history. It was a year of economic challenges, technological growth, and changes in how coins were distributed. The coin also connects to the personal histories of countless Americans. People who lived through the 1980s used these quarters daily, making them part of everyday life. Today, those same coins may carry both sentimental and monetary value. Even after 4 decades, the 1983 Washington quarter continues to surprise collectors. Every now and then, a new discovery surfaces, a pristine example from an old roll, a rare era coin, or a dramatic variety that reignites excitement in the numismatic community. The fact that the U.S. Mint skipped uncirculated sets for 1983 is still discussed among coin enthusiasts. That decision, though practical at the time, created a rarity that no one could have predicted. It is this kind of unexpected twist that makes coin collecting endlessly fascinating. Collectors often encourage newcomers to pay attention to details and dates when looking at their coins. The 1983 quarter is a perfect example of why. What appears ordinary may actually be a valuable collectible. The coin's story also reminds us that value isn't always obvious. It's not about the shine or the age, but about the circumstances surrounding its production and survival. This is why the 1983 quarter will always stand out among modern coins. Many people today are surprised to learn just how much one of these coins can be worth. It's a powerful reminder to check your change carefully and never dismiss a coin without a closer look. The 1983 Washington quarter has earned its place in numismatic history as one of the great modern rarities. Its combination of scarcity, condition challenges, and fascinating varieties ensures that it will remain desirable for generations to come. Even in a world filled with advanced technology and digital money, coins like the 1983 quarter remind us of the tangible history we can hold in our hands. Each one is a small piece of America's story. For seasoned collectors, the 1983 quarter represents the thrill of chasing after the impossible, a flawless example of a coin most people thought of as disposable pocket change. That pursuit is what makes coin collecting an adventure. The coin also offers a lesson in patience. Many collectors search for years to find the right piece, and when they finally do, the satisfaction is immense. The 1983 quarter, with its challenges, embodies that rewarding journey. As the years go by, fewer uncirculated examples remain available, which only adds to their value. Every auction or discovery further cements the coin's reputation as a true rarity of the modern era. For those who love stories of hidden treasure, the 1983 Washington quarter is the perfect example. A coin worth 25 cents in the 1980s can now be worth a staggering amount, simply because of its scarcity and condition. And so, what began as an everyday quarter has become one of the most sought-after coins of its time. In the world of numismatics, the 1983 Washington quarter is proof that even modern coins can become legendary treasures. In its rarest and most valuable form, this remarkable coin has been known to reach an incredible value of $115,000. Top 3. The Washington quarter of 1994 may seem like an ordinary coin to most people, but hidden within its story is a fascinating tale of rarity, collecting passion, and surprising value. This quarter belongs to a generation of coins that bridge the gap between the classic Washington design and the upcoming state quarters program that would begin only a few years later. It is both modern and historic, and it holds a unique place in American numismatic history. When the year 1994 began, millions of quarters were struck for everyday circulation. They were made at the Philadelphia and Denver mints, and some proofs were struck at the San Francisco Mint. Most of them went straight into people's pockets, vending machines, and cash registers without a second thought. But for collectors, the 1994 Washington quarter has become a coin worth far more than its 25-cent face value. One reason this coin is so appealing is its timing. By 1994, the Washington quarter design had already been in use for more than 60 years. Collectors were beginning to anticipate the major design changes that would come at the end of the decade. This makes the 1994 quarter part of the final stretch of the classic Washington Eagle reverse design, a design that would soon be replaced by the highly popular state quarters. The obverse features the timeless image of George Washington, a portrait based on Jean-Antoine Houdon's sculpture of the first president. Above his head is the word, Liberty, and to the side is the motto, In God We Trust. At the bottom, the year 1994 is engraved, grounding the coin in its own historical moment. The reverse continues with the powerful bald eagle design, wings spread wide, perched on a bundle of arrows with olive branches beneath. It was a design that Americans had seen for decades, symbolizing both the strength and peace of the nation. For many, this design is iconic and represents the stability of U.S. coinage. What makes the 1994 Washington quarter especially interesting to collectors are the rare varieties and mint errors that can occur. Quarters struck off-center, with doubled dies, or with other striking mistakes can become highly valuable. These error coins are not only rare but also visually striking, making them especially appealing to those who love collecting unusual pieces. Another reason the 1994 quarter stands out is the condition factor. While millions were made, most were circulated heavily, losing their sharp details and luster. Finding a coin in pristine, uncirculated condition is far more difficult than it might seem. Collectors pay close attention to coins graded by professional services, and high-grade 1994 quarters can command surprising prices at auction. The proof coins from 1994, struck at the San Francisco Mint, also hold special interest. These coins were not meant for circulation but for collectors, and they display mirror-like finishes and sharp details. Some proofs were struck in silver, making them even more desirable. These silver-proof quarters offer a connection to the earlier silver coinage of America, even though circulating quarters had long been made from copper and nickel. What many people do not realize is that coins like the 1994 quarter are more than money. They are miniature time capsules. Each coin reflects the economic, cultural, and artistic environment of the time in which it was struck. Holding a 1994 quarter is like holding a small piece of American history. Collectors often search through coin rolls, pocket change, and old collections in hopes of discovering a hidden treasure. The thrill of finding a rare 1994 quarter, perhaps an error or a high-grade example, is what keeps the hobby alive and exciting. Stories of such finds continue to inspire new generations of coin enthusiasts. The market for these coins is also influenced by nostalgia. People who grew up in the 1990s may look back at the coins they used every day with a sense of fondness. As they grow older and start collecting, they seek out coins like the 1994 quarter, driving demand higher. It is also important to note that rarity is not just about how many were minted but how many survive in exceptional condition. Millions of 1994 quarters were struck, but very few remain in nearly flawless states. This scarcity creates a powerful demand among collectors. Auctions have proven that collectors are willing to pay extraordinary amounts for coins that combine rarity, condition, and historical importance. Even a coin as recent as 1994 can reach values that surprise those unfamiliar with the coin collecting world. In addition to its rarity, the 1994 Washington quarter represents the end of an era. Within just a few years, the classic eagle reverse would disappear, replaced by state designs that captured the imagination of millions. This makes the 1994 issue one of the final coins to carry the traditional look of the series. For numismatists, that sense of last of its kind adds to the emotional and historical value of the coin. It's not just another quarter, it's a piece of numismatic tradition that was about to give way to something new and revolutionary. Searching for valuable 1994 quarters also provides a lesson in detail and patience. Collectors must look closely at the mint marks, the condition of the surfaces, and even the tiniest features of the design. Each small detail can mean the difference between an ordinary coin and an extraordinary treasure. The 1994 Washington quarter is a coin that proves modern coins can hold great value. It is easy to assume that only old, antique coins are worth large sums, but the truth is that even coins from the late 20th century can be incredibly valuable under the right conditions. Collectors appreciate the story of the 1994 quarter not only for its market value but also for its role in U.S. coinage history. It connects the past of the Washington quarter to the future of the state quarters, acting as a bridge between two great chapters in American numismatics. Even casual coin enthusiasts are often amazed to learn that a quarter from the 1990s could be worth thousands, or even tens of thousands of dollars. It sparks curiosity and excitement, drawing more people into the world of coin collecting. The coin's allure lies in its combination of accessibility and rarity. While many people still have 1994 quarters in their change, only a tiny fraction of those coins hold significant value. This makes the search both hopeful and challenging. Stories continue to emerge of collectors who stumble upon a high-grade or rare 1994 quarter in an unexpected place. These discoveries highlight the idea that treasure can be found in the most ordinary of objects. The 1994 Washington quarter also symbolizes the importance of preservation. Coins that were carefully stored and protected decades ago are now the ones commanding top prices. This teaches collectors that how a coin is cared for today can affect its future value dramatically. For new collectors, the 1994 quarter provides a perfect introduction to the hobby. It demonstrates how research, attention to detail, and patience can turn an ordinary coin into a prized possession. The appeal of this coin will only grow stronger over time. As more collectors recognize its rarity and significance, demand will continue to rise, ensuring its place in the spotlight of modern coinage. Beyond its financial worth, the 1994 quarter carries emotional and historical significance. It reminds us of the coins we once used daily, the changes in design, and the ongoing story of American money. It is remarkable how a coin that once paid for snacks, parking meters, and video games has transformed into a collectible treasure. This transformation is what makes the world of coins endlessly fascinating. The 1994 Washington quarter will always be remembered as one of the notable modern issues. It proves that even in recent decades, coins can emerge as valuable and highly collectible. As collectors continue to treasure these coins, their stories will be passed down, and the excitement around them will remain strong. This ensures that the 1994 quarter's legacy will endure for generations. And in its rarest and most valuable form, this coin has reached an astonishing worth of $76,000. Top 4. The Washington quarter of 1988 is one of those coins that many people have seen countless times in circulation, yet it carries a story that most never realize. While it looks like an everyday 25-cent piece, in reality, it is a coin that can hold extraordinary value under the right circumstances. The tale of the 1988 quarter is not only about money, it is about history, rarity, and the hidden treasures that can still be found in ordinary change. In 1988, the United States Mint continued its long tradition of producing the Washington quarter, a coin that had already been in circulation since 1932. By this time, Americans were very familiar with the design, as it had remained mostly unchanged for over half a century. Still, each year of issue has its own story, and the 1988 quarter is no exception. The coin features the familiar obverse portrait of George Washington, modeled after Jean-Antoine Houdon's sculpture of the first president. The word, Liberty, is boldly displayed above his head, while the national motto, In God We Trust, is set just to the left. At the bottom, the date 1988 marks the year of issue, connecting the coin to its time in American history. On the reverse, the bald eagle spreads its wings proudly, perched on a bundle of arrows that symbolize America's readiness for defense, while olive branches below represent peace. This design had become iconic in U.S. coinage, embodying both strength and hope, and by 1988, it was firmly embedded in American culture. The 1988 quarter was struck at multiple mints, with coins produced in both Philadelphia and Denver. Proof coins were also struck at the San Francisco Mint for collectors. While millions of these coins were made, the real treasure lies in their condition and in rare varieties that slipped past the mint's quality control. Many people don't realize that condition plays a critical role in determining a coin's value. Most 1988 quarters were used in everyday transactions, passed through vending machines, and carried in pockets, which left them scratched, worn, and dull. Finding one that has survived in pristine, mint state condition is extremely rare, and those few that exist have become prized possessions for collectors. Era coins from 1988 add another layer of excitement. Mistakes such as off-center strikes, double dies, and clipped planchets make some examples unique. These errors were never intended to leave the mint, but when they did, they became accidental treasures that collectors now eagerly seek. The San Francisco proof issues also draw interest, especially the silver proof varieties. These coins, with their mirror-like finishes and sharp details, showcase the artistry of American coinage in a way that circulating quarters simply cannot. For many collectors, these proofs are the crown jewels of the year. The late 1980s were an interesting time in America. The economy was shifting, technology was growing rapidly, and everyday life was changing. Coins like the 1988 quarter carry with them a silent record of those times, passing through the hands of millions of Americans while the country itself was evolving. Collectors often view the 1988 quarter as part of the final stretch of the traditional Washington quarter series. Just over a decade later, the Eagle reverse would disappear, replaced by the state quarters program that captivated the nation. That makes the 1988 issue one of the last of the classic design series. One reason this coin is so attractive to collectors is that it seems ordinary to the untrained eye. Unlike older coins with obvious rarity, the 1988 quarter blends in with modern change. Yet hidden among those millions of coins are examples that can be worth astonishing sums. Treasure hunters know this well, which is why so many continue to search through rolls of quarters from banks, or dig into old jars of change stored away for decades. The dream of discovering a high-grade or rare 1988 quarter keeps the hunt alive. Over the years, auctions have proven just how valuable this coin can be. When a pristine example or dramatic error surfaces, collectors are willing to bid far beyond what most people would ever expect a modern coin to bring. These auction stories fuel the fascination around the 1988 quarter. For collectors who build full sets of Washington quarters, the 1988 issue is a must-have. Without it, the collection feels incomplete. But for those chasing perfection, only the highest-graded coins will do, and that quest can take years to fulfill. The coin also teaches important lessons about coin collecting itself. Age does not always equal value. Scarcity, demand, and condition are often more important. The 1988 quarter proves this point perfectly. Though relatively modern, it can outshine older coins in terms of value when it meets the right conditions. The joy of the 1988 quarter lies not just in its value but in the adventure of the hunt. Collectors young and old can still encounter this coin in circulation, which means anyone has a chance at finding something extraordinary hidden in their change. Each 1988 quarter is a small piece of American history. From everyday transactions to rare collector's pieces, they represent both the ordinary and the extraordinary. It is this duality that makes them so compelling. Collectors often emphasize how important it is to look closely at coins. A small doubling on a date, an unusual strike, or an uncirculated surface can turn a simple quarter into a life-changing discovery. The 1988 quarter embodies this possibility. As the years pass, coins from the 1980s gain more historical and nostalgic significance. People who grew up in that era are now entering the collecting world, searching for the coins of their childhood. This generational interest ensures that coins like the 1988 quarter will remain popular. In many ways, this coin symbolizes the transition from the old to the new. It stands near the end of the long-running Eagle design, just before America would embrace a new era of coinage with bold, state-themed reverses. That alone gives it special importance. The value of the 1988 quarter will likely continue to grow as collectors compete for the few surviving examples in top condition. Each time one appears on the market, it captures attention and sets new benchmarks for value. The coin also reminds us of the importance of preservation. Those who set aside shiny quarters back in 1988 without using them in everyday spending are now reaping the rewards, as their foresight has turned into real treasure. Even for beginners, the 1988 quarter is a fascinating coin to study. It teaches about grading, minting processes, error varieties, and the unpredictability of the coin market. It can spark a lifelong passion for numismatics. Every coin has a story, and the 1988 Washington quarter's story is one of hidden potential. What most people saw as a common piece of change has, in some cases, become a highly sought-after rarity. This coin proves that true treasures can still be found in modern times, not just in ancient hoards or centuries-old pieces. The 1988 quarter is living proof that history and value often hide in plain sight. Collectors cherish this coin because it challenges assumptions and rewards attention to detail. It embodies the excitement of turning the ordinary into the extraordinary. The 1988 quarter is more than money, it is history, art, and mystery all in one. It reminds us that even something as small as a quarter can carry a legacy that endures far beyond its original use. And so, this remarkable coin, with its fascinating story and rare treasures, has been known to achieve a value as high as $90,000. Top 5. The Washington quarter of 1997 may appear to be just another piece of change, something most people passed along without a second glance. But for coin collectors and enthusiasts, this quarter represents much more than its face value. It is part of the final years of the classic Washington quarter design, a coin that connects everyday use with numismatic history, and in certain rare cases, it can be worth an astonishing fortune. By 1997, the Washington quarter had already been in circulation for 65 years. First introduced in 1932 to honor the 200th birthday of George Washington, the design had become a constant in American pockets and purses. For generations, it was a coin people trusted and used daily, yet by the late 1990s, it was nearing the end of its era. The obverse still featured the iconic profile of George Washington, based on the sculpture created by Jean-Antoine Houdon in the 18th century. Above his head appeared the word, Liberty, while the motto, In God We Trust, stood to the left. Below, the date 1997 marked it as one of the final years before the great change in quarter design that would soon arrive. On the reverse, the bald eagle spread its wings proudly, clutching arrows and resting above olive branches. This powerful symbol of strength and peace had appeared on the reverse of Washington quarters for decades, but its time was drawing to a close. Just 2 years later, in 1999, the state quarters program would begin, forever changing the look of the coin. The 1997 quarter was struck at the Philadelphia and Denver mints for circulation, while the San Francisco Mint produced both clad-proof and silver-proof versions for collectors. These proof coins displayed sharp details and mirror-like surfaces, making them especially attractive to numismatists. Despite millions being struck, the true treasures among the 1997 quarters are those that survived in flawless condition or those that feature striking errors. Coins in perfect mint state condition are incredibly rare, especially since most circulated heavily and show signs of wear. Error coins are another exciting aspect of the 1997 quarter. Mistakes such as double dies, off-center strikes, or missing clad layers can transform an ordinary coin into a valuable rarity. These errors often escape the mint unnoticed, only to be discovered years later by sharp-eyed collectors. For those who love silver coinage, the 1997's silver-proof quarters hold special appeal. Struck with 90% silver, they connect back to America's older coinage traditions, even though circulating quarters had long been made of copper and nickel. The late 1990s were a fascinating time in U.S. coin history. The Mint was preparing for the upcoming launch of the State Quarters program, which would go on to become the most collected coin program in American history. This makes 1997 one of the very last dates of the traditional eagle reverse design. Because of this, the 1997 quarter carries with it a sense of nostalgia. Collectors see it as part of the closing chapter of an era, a coin that represents both continuity and change in American coinage. Auction records have shown that when a 1997 quarter appears in exceptional condition, or with dramatic errors, it can command impressive sums. Collectors compete fiercely for these rare examples, driving prices to levels that most people would never imagine for a coin still relatively modern. The beauty of the 1997 quarter is that it teaches one of the great lessons of numismatics. Rarity and value are not always about age. Even a coin from the late 20th century can be highly sought after if it is scarce in the right condition or variety. For those who build complete collections of Washington quarters, the 1997 issue is a necessary piece. Without it, the set feels unfinished, especially since it belongs to the very end of the Eagle Reverse series. Collectors who grew up in the 1990s also have a personal connection to the 1997 quarter. It was a coin they used daily in stores, arcades, and parking meters. Today, many look back with fondness and want to preserve these coins as part of their own history. The excitement of searching for valuable quarters is what keeps many coin enthusiasts engaged. Even today, someone might discover a rare 1997 quarter sitting unnoticed in a coin jar, a roll of change, or even their wallet. That thrill of discovery makes this hobby so rewarding. Proof coins from 1997 are also cherished because of their artistry. With crisp strikes and deep mirror backgrounds, they showcase the Washington quarter design in its most beautiful form, right before it was about to be replaced forever. The fact that this coin is part of the final years of the classic design gives it symbolic importance. It marks the end of an era that began in 1932, connecting the Great Depression era to the dawn of the 21st century. Condition, as always, plays a huge role in determining value. While millions of 1997 quarters exist, only a small fraction are in gem mint state. These coins are the ones that fetch the most attention from serious collectors. Every detail on the 1997 quarter tells part of its story, from Washington's portrait to the eagle's wings, from the mint mark to the year of issue. To collectors, these details are clues that reveal whether a coin is common or extraordinary. The stories of valuable 1997 quarters discovered in unexpected places continue to fuel interest. Collectors know that treasures often hide in plain sight, and this coin proves that even modern change can be worth far more than its face value. The 1997 quarter also demonstrates how coin collecting connects people to history. By holding one of these coins, you're not just carrying money, you're holding a piece of America's past, a reminder of the designs that shaped U.S. coinage for decades. For beginners, the 1997 quarter is a wonderful entry point into the hobby. It is recent enough to be familiar, yet rare enough in high grade or error form to offer the excitement of real treasure hunting. As the years pass, interest in the final years of the Washington Eagle reverse continues to grow. Collectors know these coins are becoming more historically significant with every passing decade. The 1997 Washington quarter is therefore more than just an ordinary piece of money. It is a bridge between eras, a coin that captures the spirit of tradition while standing at the edge of change. Many of these coins still sit unnoticed in circulation or tucked away in old collections. Yet among them lie pieces that can change hands for incredible sums, surprising those who once thought of them as just pocket change. And so, the story of the 1997 quarter reminds us to look closely at the coins we hold. What seems ordinary could, in fact, be a hidden gem waiting to be discovered. This coin continues to inspire both seasoned collectors and newcomers alike, proving that modern coins can carry stories, history, and value far beyond their face amount. The Washington quarter of 1997 holds its place as one of the most interesting issues of the decade. It is both common and rare, both ordinary and extraordinary, depending on the details of each piece. And in its rarest and most valuable form, this coin has reached an incredible worth of $67,000.